Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Heart of the Swarm broadcast brought to you by DOOMeSports and SC2Links.com. Today we have two very exciting European StarCraft 2 players duking it out on the map Akilon Flats and spawning in the upper left-hand corner of the map. He is the Protoss player, hailing from the Netherlands, sponsored by Twitch TV, BenQ, Sony Xperia US, and PokerStrategy.com. None other than the former Orc powerhouse, Grubby. And spawning in the lower right-hand corner of the map, he is the Serbian Terran player from the team Empire, sponsored by Razer, Adidas, Seagate, Twitch TV, and Intel. None other than Beasty Cutie. And I am no stranger to Beasty Cutie. He's been featured on a variety of base trade TV show matches, and a very scary player indeed. Guy who is not afraid to test you with his micro, take you into late game scenarios with his macro, and pretty much just play the way he wants to play. You know, and that's not to take things away from his opponent here, Grubby, who is a creative player himself. Been showing us a variety of new macro and micro techniques, mostly just micro techniques, but you know, Grubby has been improving his macro steadily over the course of his StarCraft 2 experience. Was really well known for his unit control in Warcraft 3 and decision making especially, and that has carried over into a lot of facets of his playstyle in Heart of the Swarm. But we didn't really see the results that we're used to seeing from Grubby over the course of Wings of Liberty. He did have a second place showing at IEM, and that was against a Terran player that he lost in the finals. It was a Korean Terran player. And we saw him compete in Code A as well. So this is not to say that Grubby has not shown us results. It's just not the Grubby results that we're used to seeing from Warcraft 3, where he was literally dominating everyone. There was no one that could touch this guy at one point. And he has been an inspiration to me to definitely pursue anything that I want to in life. One of the most positive players in the esports scene. Grubby is just an all-around nice person who pretty much is here for the fans. He does very active streams. If you have not checked him out before, I encourage you to follow him on Twitter @followgrubby. And if you haven't seen our Terran player perform before, Beasty Cutie, well then I encourage you to follow him on Twitter as well. You can follow him @EmpireBeasty. He is always for his fans as well, and he probably doesn't have as many Twitter followers as he deserves, so go out there, check him out, and watch his stream, because he'll show you a thing or two. If you're an aspiring Terran player looking to get into Grandmaster, then I definitely would recommend Beasty. Like I said before, he's not afraid to play his own playstyle, and very curious to see what he'll try to do in the TVP matchup. He's already going for an Engineering Bay block at the natural of Grubby. That's used to prevent the Nexus from going down for the Protoss player at pretty much the standard time that they'll want to take it, which is very, very early. And meanwhile, Grubby's just going to get out there with that Zealot. We'll discover the Engineering Bay block now and be like, crap, I need to change my game plan. And I also need to focus down this Engineering Bay. But he's going to try to see what he can see from Beasty's perspective. He did confirm that the Command Center went down, and he's actually moving through to try to pick off what he can pick off. Going to focus down a Mule initially, but the Zealot's taking a lot of damage. Grubby's trying to focus down this SCV, but the Zealot goes down the process. Can Beasty evacuate the SCVs to the main? No. Two are going to go down. And a relatively even trade there for both players. One unit killed for Beasty Cutie being the Zealot. Two SCVs taken down from Grubby. So potentially the SCVs could be worth more later on, considering what they are capable of doing in terms of mining. But Grubby is responding by taking his third base at a location that Beasty wasn't necessarily expecting. And Beasty's going to get in here, but not see the second gas being taken, and not see the third base. He was actually anticipating it would be placed down in this location from the probe that Grubby had in the natural, but it does appear to have been that pesky early probe that wasn't taken out. That will drop this down, and Grubby's even going to follow up by going for a third Nexus at his natural. So super macro-oriented build out of Grubby. This could lead into some very aggressive pressure relatively soon, with 3 Stalkers currently on the map and a Mothership core. This could get kind of ugly for Beasty, but not really really sure what his plan is at this point. He's gone for 4 gases. He's got 3 command centers up. And he does have, you know, decent knowledge of the map in the middle, but no knowledge of what Grubby's doing at all inside of his base. So perhaps we'll see a scan out of him. Perhaps he'll just try to react to whatever comes his way, because he pretty much can only anticipate aggression. You know, didn't see the second gas to really confirm if tech was on the way, but sees now at the front. No, he doesn't see that mothership core approaching. Has made a second bunker regardless, in the event that this was some really, really aggressive pressure, but it's actually kind of passive and effective. I mean, the mothership core is shelling away at the eBay. He's forced to repair it, and this is a sticky situation for Beasty. I'm setting a little perplex though, not necessarily due to this aggression, but he's adding on 2 factories at this time. That signals to me that we're actually going to see mech against Protoss, and coming from a guy who's watched bio medevacs against Protoss for pretty much every TVP for the past 6 months, this is extremely exciting. But are we actually going to get to that point? I mean, there's 4 gates currently down, another 4 on the way for Grubby, and he's just kind of ticking off Beasty at this point, keeping him on his toes, and certainly, ouch, that Stalker just got absolutely crushed by the siege tank. So that's going to be enough to deflect Grubby for the time being. And Grubby's response, seeing that the siege tank tech is in play, is to drop down a forge as well as a robotics facility. Meanwhile, he's just going to posture outside the front. Does look like he may have wanted to put on some additional aggression, warping in those sentries, but man, look at this. Okay, so sentries have hallucination inherently, so they're going to be able to allow Protoss players to get very early scouts off with relative ease. This Phoenix is going to be taken down by that turret, and a very crucial moment in the game, because the mech has actually been revealed. So Grubby is aware. He sees what Beasty's plan is. It's no longer a trap, or whatever, however you want to say it. But meanwhile, Beasty still no knowledge of what Grubby's going for. So, you know, this is looking great for Grubby. A little dicey for Beasty, but as long as he keeps this defensive posture, he should be okay. There's really nothing to worry about with a couple of siege tanks at the front. Bunkers too. We do have the Phoenix still just scouting out what it can, and sees the starport down too. So Grubby is completely in the know and responding with just fantastic macro. I mean, looking at his unit counting station here, almost up to 70 probes. His mineral to gas ratios looking very, very good. One Hellion's going to sneak in over here and transform into a Hellbat. And okay, get that party started. Meanwhile, though, Grubby has moved in and is forcing the third up. It's not really a party when the Hellbat gets in there. It's more of like a devastating, terrible time. Let me know what you think is like when a Hellbat comes into that would be Grubby, though, is going to hallucinate an Immortal and get on out of that third base area. Nice little tactic there to use that Immortal to soak up some of that tank pressure, not losing any Stalkers in the engagement. Very cute, very clever. And this does appear to be pre the last Heart of the Swarm patch, where Hellbats were limited to only 2 per medevac. So Beasty Cutie is afforded the luxury of having 4 Hellbats in a medevac, but I believe this had to have been spotted by that pylon. And if it was not before, it certainly will be now. Grubby has responded initially by placing 2 photon cannons down at every single mineral line location. So Grubby not taking any chances here with potential drops that could very well be Widow Mines, could be Hellbats, could be pretty much anything that the Terran player wants to do, and that's one of the exciting things about playing Terran. But that medevac is moved perhaps a little bit too far. Nope, actually going to be just in the right location to get out safely. And a couple more SCVs, or a couple more probes are going to go down. 11 workers in total killed from Beasty Cutie in this matchup. Looking at each player from an income perspective as well. 3,000 minerals for Beasty Cutie, and that is thank you due to 7 mules on the field all at this third base. So although he has the 7 mules now getting tons of mineral income, that is going to be a little taxing on these mineral patches. So we're going to have to keep an eye on what Beasty's plan is here, because going for mech, you are going to be confined to your base for a good amount of the game. And you're going to be confined to your section of the map and forced to really just move out methodically, try to do things in a very slow and precise manner. Making the right decisions here is going to be incredibly crucial for Beasty to not get caught with his pants down to what appears to be a very immortal heavy composition from Grubby. And with this double robotics facility, he's able to pump out 2 at a time. No Colossus Bay. Okay, Robotics Bay has just been created. There are a couple of Hellbat drops floating around the map, so we're gonna try to do our best to keep an eye on them and see if they're actually able to be effective. This first Hellbat drop is gonna come in, but the medevac will be focused down by both cannons. Probes are trying to evacuate, but are gonna be dropped in the meantime. Zealots are worked in, they will fall. And Mortal in combination with the cannon should be more than enough to try to take this out. This medevac is gonna move into the main as well, taken out almost immediately, but the Hellbats are in a position to potentially take out a lot of probes. Okay, probes saving the day there, saving their brethren. But 25 workers in total have been killed here from Beasty. And Beasty, a fusion core, a Ghost Academy, going for Cloak, Mobius Reactor already done. How many ghosts are currently on the field? 3 in total? Alright, so while I've been paying attention to the infrastructure of Grubby and what he's been going for, Beasty Cutie is moving into a very Ghost Viking heavy composition, and now we know this to be very effective in Wings of Liberty. Getting +2/+2 for the mech as well, that's a lot of damage, and with 8 siege tanks, can Grubby actually follow through with this pressure? He does have Storm, he does have decent immortal counts. I was gonna say he's got good energy on his sentries, but he doesn't. And what he's got is a Terran player who is seriously turtled, and adding on Command Center after Command Center. Beasty is going to zone out and locate the position of Grubby's army. Of course, he sees it with the sensor tower placement. Very good sensor tower placement, seeing any type of incoming attacks on that third base. And this really feels like Grubby wants to get aggressive right now. But, I mean, considering he's got High Templar, does he actually know the ghosts are in play? He does now! He certainly does now, making a Dark Shrine as well as those double Colossus production. Beasty trying to get an EMP in combo with the Siege Tank fire. Looking pretty decent. Did he just load Ghosts in there? No. They are Hellbats that will be loaded into the medevacs. And this is turning into a pretty wild game. On one foot, we have Grubby being insanely aggressive, taking map control to pretty much the full extent that a Protoss can take map control. If he had pylons around here, perhaps he would see even more. But as it is, he's got relatively good coverage. Is he going to catch this medevac, though? Will the tail end of these medevacs be included? What? What? Okay, they will not be. So initially, that won't be spotted by Grubby. But he's got other plans. I think he wants to definitely move in here and do some type of damage to the Protoss player. You know, scan World Revere where the Protoss armies is, but you know, looking from what Grubby's perspective is on, yeah, he is gonna. Okay, I was gonna say he doesn't have any idea where the army is, and this is truer words have probably not been spoken. He's got an observer in place, but one small step forward, a lot of things to go wrong. Meanwhile, 8 Hellions appear to have been dropped out here. Yes, 4+4 is 8. And a ton of probes are being dropped. 25 were killed before, so it looks like still 6 were actually killed in this engagement. Cannon's not even safe. Will that medevac get picked off? No. It shall not. It will pass. But, man, there was definitely more cannons here at some point. And, okay, the medevac shall not pass. It will be destroyed. And this is turning into a wild and crazy game. 3 carriers in production at once for Grubby here. He's going to be making Graviton Catapult. Will allow the carriers to launch those interceptors even quicker. And holy moly. 20 mules at a time at the benefit of 8 command centers at once. And Grubby even seeing these go down. That's a lot of mules, and he's definitely not dropping them over here because we see that how much those mules chewed down those mineral patches previously. Grubby does look like he wants to make this 4th base a focal point of his next attack, seeing that the 3rd base choke is so effective. And here we go, just going to push in with the Colossus, with the Zealots and the Immortals. What can Beasty actually do to defend this? I mean, he's got Vikings in position, but The Zealots are attacking everything. At least Grubby is preventing those mules from getting additional mining down. I mean, he's got 3,000 minerals at once previously, but now with no mining there at all, that's going to drop significantly. And although a couple of Colossus do fall in that engagement, a relatively effective attack from Grubby. I mean, behind this, he's making carriers. He's getting some shield upgrades. Doesn't necessarily look like he has been getting any type of air upgrades. Okay, just +1 level upgrades on his air. While Beasty has +3, +2 on his mech. 0-0 on his bio. And 2-1 on his air. And, okay, I mentioned battle cruisers earlier, but this supply is actually growing by the minute. 2 more starports have been added on, so he's up to 6 starports in total. One of those with the reactor, of course. Grubby continuing his aggression. There is a DT. There was a DT. There is a lot of storms. And a time warp going to go down, though. The Molotov core will drop. Storm's still available to him. The ghosts are not able to get on top of everything. And Storm's continuing to do damage to shell those down. One High Templar will be sniped. And although those SCVs were pulled over here, the missile turrets were dropped. So there's where the Dark Templar has gone. Really disrupting the economy of Beasty Cutie. Not allowing him to get this base up has been a very effective move there. The scan will eventually take that out, though, from Grubby. And, man, looking at the unit compositions here, Grubby's got like a hodgepodge of Protoss forces. No Stalkers, interesting to note, on the field. And Beasty Cutie has gone for mech and air. Tanks and air. Lots and lots and lots of air. Even adding some Ravens into the mix at this point. Has not focused his upgrades distinctly on air. Yes, he has. Okay. He's got +2/+2 on his air. And man, I just love saying air so much. I'm surprised we're not seeing Tempest come out of Grubby. They do, or they are the only, one of the only units in the game that actually outrange siege tanks. Perhaps the only unit at this point here, but carriers, a good choice too, because yeah, tanks don't hit air, they can't shoot upwards. Yeah, so carriers are gonna do a behemoth job at taking down, you know, whatever it is on the ground, and also at taking down things like command centers, buildings, mules. These turrets will stand no chance whatsoever. But I'm very curious to see how. Whoa, look at that mini-map icon. How cool is this? Although this doesn't look like it's going to be the most effective nuke in the world, thank you so much to Blizzard for increasing the features inside of the Observer UI. A couple of probes will go down. The cannon's going to fall as well. And this Ghost is going to pick off a couple of probes. So this is going to pay off. At least from the standpoint of the cost of the nuke. And Grubby has been doing this so much where he drops a pylon down and the probe kind of bounces off of it. It takes away the attack priority from whatever unit is trying to hit it, and cute little tactic there. That Ghost will not last any longer in the StarCraft universe. Has been exterminated, but alright. Here's what I want to know. Does Grubby actually know whether or not there are battle cruisers? And the answer is a definitive and resounding no. He does not know that there are so many. Well, I guess he can discern that there are so many command centers for Beasty floating in that main, but he has not been able to get, say, like an OBS in there to scout it out. But Beasty, using his scans to great effect to try to see what he can see around the map, will be sending these Hellions across the field to try to see, in both locations, to try to do as much damage as possible. Meanwhile, here come the carriers. And this is what I was talking about, eviscerating everything extremely fast. The Hellions are going to get in here, but how much are they actually going to be able to kill? There are plenty of cannons, plenty of Stalkers in position to take them down. The planetary drops almost immediately. Where are the units from Beasty to respond to this? I guess he's just going to let it go. Smart move when you've got 10 command centers backing this up, but this is kind of an awkward position for Beasty because he did send those Hellions around to try to do some economic damage, but wasn't extremely effective with it. I mean, looking at the income here, Grubby is dominating him. But looking at the unit counting station, I'm kind of liking what Beasty's got. I mean, yeah, mass carriers can be extremely indestructible, but when you've got Ravens and Yamato Cannon and mass Vikings and Ghosts, it gets pretty hard to defeat. But we're going to learn this together and see what exactly goes down, because carriers were improved slightly in Heart of the Storm. Let's not forget that this unit was removed at the start of the beta and made a triumphant return. But okay, here comes the engagement. A lot of EMPs going off. And are there any observers in the area? There is one observing in the area. Ghosts are going to be targeted down immediately. One secret missile is going to go off on this lone carrier, but you are able to distinguish which one it is and move it off appropriately. Yamato cannons all being focused on the carriers and huge damage going down. I mean, the Vikings are going to lay waste to everything that's left. I mean, the Raven will be focused down almost immediately, but what can Grubby actually do to respond to this? The Vikings outrange these carriers so well. He can't really do anything, and the count is falling from 10 to 4. The battlecruiser count is slowly growing. Yamato Cannon's going to eliminate the rest of the carriers. Huge feedbacks go down, but is it going to be enough? Can Grubby actually come back from this? Sure, he's had map control. Sure, he's had insane production, a greater income than his opponent. But is this composition for Beasty just too strong? The +3 armor is playing a huge factor in keeping these battlecruisers alive. And I mean, what are Grubby's options? His units not prepared to handle this. Sure, he's got a couple of Tempests. He's going to have insane storms. He's going to have to use his Stalkers, blink under there, and destroy the army. I mean, Beasty is just going to move out across the map from here. But okay, DT being blocked, that's going to buy Grubby a little bit of time. While this Nexus is destroyed, he can move probes down here to this lower 4th base if he decides to do so. But the rest of the army is just slowly growing. It's just slowly meeting up with Beasty. He's even got mules down here to repair everything. Man, this is turning into a nutso game. This all just bubbles up into 1 point. I mean, yeah, it feels like Beasty didn't really do a whole lot for the beginning, but now in this position, he is the dominator. He is the one who is swinging the pace of game largely into his favor. He is most likely going to try to eliminate this DT over here. But Grubby warping in more DTs, trying to pick off his opponent little by little, force him into awkward situations. One Yamato cannon is going to go down, eliminating the unit on the ground. The last carrier in the game is going to be destroyed. 7 Tempests currently on the field. We're going to see the battlecruiser / Vikings versus huge Tempest composition. And man, these things are shelling everything on the field. Yamato Cannon is going to move in, but Grubby is now prepared with a lot of anti-air. Those feedbacks were insane. They do so much damage to the battlecruisers. Not only do they do damage to them, but they also eliminate the Yamato Cannon. So, you know, Grubby's going to have to consciously determine which of these battlecruisers have the most energy and attempt to eliminate them. He's continuing to be aggressive. This has been the name of the game for Grubby. You know, not even with great information on what his opponent has, but continue to move forward. Could this be his fatal flaw, though? Storms are going to go down the Vikings, but also on top of the Stalkers. At the same time, the battlecruisers are moving forward. The Tempest count is rapidly dropping, although it's being replaced with more and more Tempests. The ones that were currently here are falling, and there's just not enough anti-air anymore. The Stalker count is down to 2, only 7, 6 High Templars on the field. The Templars are slowly being approached by the battlecruisers with unlimited, which seems like unlimited Yamato cannons. Ladies and gentlemen, 3 battlecruisers versus 3 Tempests and Beasty Cutie GG's. Oh my gosh, I thought he was in such a great position, but looking at where he was from an economic perspective, he was just limited in every regard. Grubby had this other half of the map, and that's gonna be Protoss Air taking out the Terran Air. Grubby showing us why he has been such a beast in Heartless Swarm, and Beasty Cutie showing us why he is such a versatile player. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this cast, I encourage you to follow us at youtube.com/SC2Links or talk to me at Twitter at DOOMeSports. And yeah, let me know what you thought of the broadcast. I'm really excited to be bringing these Heartless War matches to all of you out there, and I can't wait to see how this game will be progressing on into the future. I'm monologuing at this point. I'll end the cast here. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been Doom Esports for SC2Links.com. Signing off. Thanks for watching.